but it's both genders. Now, actually, you're a feminist. How many genders do you believe in?
Well, in the eyes of the law, the protected characteristics of different individuals equates to more than just two sexes. It includes more than two genders. So I would say I'm separating sex from gender, and I would say that while I recognise two sexes, there may be more people identify with more than two genders.
Are feminists protected or endangered by a man in a frock going into ladies' loos? I've silenced Tessa, that's the first time. A judge in an employment tribunal in Peterborough has said that claiming not to be a feminist could be an act of discrimination. I quote the judge, who said it would appear that a feminist is simply about all genders having equal rights and opportunities as men. The judge confessed the tribunal was perplexed by the defendant's non-feminist views and suggested such opinions would be in breach of equality laws. I'm as perplexed as the judge by his statement that feminism relates to all genders, implying more than two. I thought feminism was about women, not the transgender ideology. But discrimination must require action rather than a lack of belief. As long as others are treated equally under the law, is there one definition of feminism that must be believed? This seems an extraordinary intrusion into personal belief, as opposed to viewing discrimination as an active decision. Well, with me now is my panel, associate commentator at The Telegraph, Mutaz Ahmed, and the historian and broadcaster, Tessa Dunlop. Tessa, is it compulsory, basically, to agree with you? And you may think it should be, but is that a sensible way for the law to go?
Isn't that why you have me here? As your token feminist, so that you aren't entirely shut down by a tribunal, the establishment that is GB News. No, I looked up the definition of feminism for you, Jake, because I thought you might need some help in this area.
Look, she can't even get her first statement out without insulting this man before she even gets started.
Is the advocacy of women's rights, people like me, on the basis of the equality of the sexes. So that is baked into law, last updated as we discovered.
Well, hold on. Baked into law, the equality, and I'm all in favour of that, but advocacy. To say that it is compulsory to advocate something is very different from saying that something is the law of the land.
It's good to see you, your usual pedantry self.
Yeah, that's what you would expect. It's what my viewers and listeners expect.
Indeed. It's important to say that this manager, he was an environmental agency manager, therefore he had a level of agency within his agency. They were contesting his maintenance of a non-feminist view. They suggested that was discriminatory, i.e., as a manager, by maintaining non-feminist views, that impacts on your ability to treat your employees and your co-workers equally.
Does it? If he treated everybody equally, the fact that he didn't believe in feminism was surely his choice.
But he was maintaining his non-feminist stance, which is counter to equality. It runs counter to equality.
Not if he didn't do anything about it. Mutaz.
Feminism is not about equality anymore. It's about crushing the patriarchy. It's about women gaining the upper hand over men. That's not equal.
You're another beleaguered male.
I'm not a feminist. You can believe in equality, right? But you don't have to be a feminist to believe it.
But this man hit it right on the head from the jump. It's not even about equality anymore. They want to take down the patriarchy. And whatever the hell they think that still is in 2024. Yes, because feminists keep trying to hide behind this veil of, oh, we just want things to be equal. Things are equal today in 2024. What things do women want that they can't have, but men can have it? Like, everything is already equal.
And if this man is saying he's not a feminist, he might well be saying, I don't believe in crushing the patriarchy. I don't believe in creating an environment that's negative for men.
I understand that you're actually half my age and you perhaps haven't been around quite long enough to understand what feminism literally means in its legal defined context. What's happened since you grew up is that the culture wars have taken words like feminism and they've injected them with all kinds of potency, which actually are deeply unhelpful to the cause of equality and the cause of women.
If I don't identify with that word then, which has been injected with all of this politics, am I being discriminatory? If I say in the workplace that I don't believe in DEI, am I saying that I don't believe in racial equality? Of course I'm not. I'm saying that I don't believe in the politics of DEI. I don't believe in the politics of feminism. How is that discriminatory?
Well, I think what we need to do is divorce the definition of feminism from the way in which you clearly see some individuals as using it as a tool to whip the likes of you with and your rights with. I will go back to read the Oxford Dictionary definition of feminism, the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes.
Very interestingly, when I looked it up in the Oxford Dictionary, it says you should pronounce it feminism, which seems to have gone out of fashion. And I think that's Mutaz's...
Well, that was before even I was born.
But I think
Jacob.
that's Mutaz's point, that words evolve, and actually what you're saying about a dictionary definition is all perfectly fair and true, but Mutaz's point is absolutely spot on. It has become a political advocacy of something. I'm all in favour, strongly in favour, of equality before the law. I think it is the most fundamental principle of British law. But that doesn't mean that I believe that there is equality of all genders. I don't actually think there are more than two genders anyway. And this judge is on about there being a whole slew of genders. That's very odd, isn't it?
This judge is... I didn't catch that.
He said that his definition of feminism, or as we're all now going to pronounce it, feminism, is that it relates to all genders. Now, once you say all genders, all implies more than two. It's only both genders, isn't it? We would say... I mean, I'm delighted we're having a discussion about the correct use of English, but it's both genders. Now, actually, you're a feminist. How many genders do you believe in?
Well, in the eyes of the law, the protected characteristics of different individuals equates to more than just two sexes. It includes more than two genders. So I would say I'm separating sex from gender, and I would say that while I recognise two sexes, there may be more people identifying with more than two genders.
Are feminists protected or endangered by a man in a frock going into ladies' loos? I've silenced Tessa. That's the first time that's ever happened. Mutaz.
Exactly. Oh, no, come on now. Don't get the stuttering now. She don't want to touch on the trans community because that's one of their main supportive groups that help them fund and push these feminist agendas. That's why she don't want to say too much about them.
Mutaz.
What are the other genders? What are they?
Well, I'm not somebody who identifies out with my gender, which is female, but I know that there are those with protected characteristics, transsexuals, who have a different idea of their own gendered identity. And who am I to quibble with that? I really think what concerns me greatly is that the likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg, who's more likely to be found in the sort of golf house or the gentleman's drinking club than he ever is campaigning for equality and women's rights and worrying about our safety, suddenly gets very hot under the collar if a man wears a woman's frock and says he's a woman and then goes into a female space. In any other context, do you ever get worried about female safety?
No, this is something that women are concerned about.
A few women. The only reason we're hearing so much about this is because men like you have jumped on their bandwagon.
No, we're hearing so much about it because of feminists, ironically. People like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a rabbit hole that I wish feminism, which has got far greater causes to fight, like equality, justice, economic justice for women.
Tessa, having been momentarily silenced, is now making up for it, but thank you to my panel. Having been momentarily silenced is now making up for it, but thank you to my panel.
Man, I had to play that part there again. She left in a huff, right? And she started each one of her talking points with a personal insult aiming at these men's intelligence and their age. Like, you can't make this stuff up. And this debate was really crazy because what they was talking about there was political persecution. Like, if you don't believe like the government believes, you can be locked up. And this is why men need to be very weary about voting for known feminist women. But a lot of these feminists are starting to believe that if being a non-feminist may be an act of discrimination. They literally believe that if you don't think or feel the way they feel, you are in a civil war with them. You are on the other side. You are the enemy. But I do feel like when feminists are talking about locking men up, this is when this stuff is beginning to get very dangerous. I think it'll be very helpful at this point if feminists just admitted that, hey, at this point, we just want men all over the world to do what we tell them to do. They obviously just want men to blindly follow them. They are truly correct when they say facts don't care nothing about feelings. But that's all I got in this one, guys. Definitely drop a comment down below and let me know what you think about this feminist here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.